It's been a few days since I did a video, and I appreciate all the support that you have been giving me. I've been sick, still a little bit sick, but I want to have a look at some of this Subnautica stuff. And basically the plan is going to be over the next few videos to make a corridor like this, and to keep it simple. So it's easy to do, but it will be using Substance Painter for the texturing, maybe a little bit in Blender. But we'll model it, of course, in Blender, and pretty straightforward to do. And then maybe bring in some of the props. As you can see, I've got the med kit that I made, and I've got the trash can, and we'll see. And some of this stuff is just a whip, just to put it together, see how it would work. All right, so I want to get down on video how I would go about doing this. So what I'm going to do in this video, anyhow, is just make the wall, and of course that could be copied over, and maybe have a look at this floor. It ends up being mostly texturing and putting stuff together in Blender. So we'll see what we can get done. But anyways, here I am over in Blender, and I'm going to bring in a plane. And from the side here, let's see, from the front here, I'm going to rotate Y90. So I'd be looking into it from the side. I'm just going to bring that up to there. All right, I'm going to press 2 and grab that edge, and I'm going to extrude it out just a little bit like that. And then I'm going to bevel this quite a bit. Control B. I'm going to pull it out to about there, and then roll up quite a bit, get nice and smooth like that. Okay, and then this is going to be the main wall here. So I look from the front, and then I'm going to angle off like this. I wanted a reasonably big area, because I'll put like a monitor there, so I don't want it too steep, but I do want it angled. And then we'll just come up, and that'll join the ceiling. So let's have a look at that, something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll bevel these as well a little bit. Control B, just maybe roll back a little bit, and have it there so it's kind of smooth, and I can put on shade smooth. And that's that piece. Now what I'm going to do is, you can see these division lines here, they're actually indented. We'll do those in Substance Painter, but it's a separate little piece from the rest of the wall. And of course we can have maybe 2 versions of the wall. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to get a Control R for an edge loop, but I'm going to pull it down to about there, which is about, I don't know, 7/8 or 5/6 of the way in. And face selection, number 3, I'm going to Shift Alt and click, and then P to break that out. So I have that piece, and go into edit mode, just slide it down a little bit. I can even, set the origin to geometry if I want on that one, and on that one. And I'm going to texture those sort of together so that I get consistent colors, and my line can go straight across. So basically that is going to be it. And whatever I do on this one in texturing in Substance Painter, I can hide the layers or delete them, and then I can do a different thing on there. So one of them will have the med kit and the lights and maybe this, and the other one will have maybe this or whatever. There's other geometrical pieces I could put in. However, I do want to say that in Subnautica, in the game, it's very simple, and a lot of this stuff is very 2D-ish, and then they have some 3D models scattered around and stuff. So I'm kind of still hoping to do it like that. That makes it easier. So all right, I'm going to go to UV editing, and I'm going to look from the side, and I'm going to select, I want to actually select both. I want to do them together, just like that. And I'm going to press U, project from view, bounce. I'm going to select it and scale it in a little bit. So I've got that, and hopefully that's going to be all right and not be stretched. Let's try average island scale. That's not going to change anything. Actually, let me just try just a straight UV unwrap. Nah, I don't like that one. All right, I'm gonna go with project from view, but I'm gonna scale it down, and I'm actually gonna scale this in the X just a little bit so that it's a little narrower, like the original. All right, we'll try that anyhow. So the next thing to do is make sure I did shade smooth, is to export this as an FBX and bring it into Substance Painter. All right, so there they are. You'll notice it's come in as a default material. I'm going to call this, I'll just call this walls. And I'm going to bake the mesh maps. I'll do them at 2K. And I'm going to delete the default layer. And under materials, I'm going to search for plastic And I'm going to use the same plastic I've used before, this matte plastic, which I think comes with Substance Painter. But I'll go in here and I'll change the color to close to a white color. And that's going to be my base, whatever. I'll just call it base. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is to give a texture color to this bottom part here. So I'm going to make a fill layer and a black mask. And I'm going to change the color here to it's about 3/4 gray. Come back to the black mask, turn on polygon fill, and you can see that. And I'm just going to sort of box, like draw a rectangle around there. Click the brush in, and I'll have that. Okay, I'm just comparing it. So I'm doing this area right here. All right, now we need some panel lines. And I'm just debating whether I'm going to do this in the 3D view or I'm going to do this in the UVs, and I may be doing that in the UVs. We'll see. I think for this, I'm just going to create a regular paint layer. I'm going to come to the properties, and I'm going to click on color and height. We'll make the color essentially black, and the height I'll come down about halfway, and we'll see what that looks like. And then I want a nice sort of sharp line, so I'm going to choose a sharp brush, and I'm going to scale down. Actually, I'm going to scale down to about 1 here, and then we're going to try this and see. And sometimes it takes a few times. Hold Shift and Control and see if I can get across. It looks pretty good there. Let's see what it looks like over here. I could probably live with that as my first line there. Regular paint layer, the same parameters. And I got it up to there. And let's try that one more time. I'm going to try it from the bottom. And that's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm actually going to chop a little bit of this off. So that's fine. So we're going to leave it there. In fact, let's see if I do one more. Let's try going back to here, if it makes any difference at all. Okay, so we get that. Okay, so let's leave it at that for the moment. Right, and these are my indent line. Let's call that indent line. And I'll call this maybe bottom trim. I'll save this. So I'll cut that piece off. Now, let's add something else here. Let's do another paint layer. And I'm probably okay with that. Maybe not quite as indented here. And I'm going to come up to my alphas. I'm going to search for rounded rectangle. And I got this guy. I'll make it bigger. And I'm going to rotate this. Try it right down here. Maybe not too big. Something like that though. We'll click that. I think maybe we will drop it down significantly. Okay, so you can see that indent there. And then on each side of it, I'm going to put a circle with an emission. Okay, so circle, I'm going to grab this, that one there, and I can squeeze it, and that'll make it a circle. Just scale it down. And I can't really use a mirror because, you know, I've got this other piece here, so I'm just going to do this by eye, which it should be fine. That one. That one. Okay, so this is going to be, I don't like, indent light. something like that. Now make a new layer, and I want emission, but I don't have an emission channel here, so I'm going to add one here, emissive channel. And this one I just want emissive, so I'm going to alt click there, and I'm going to change the color here to like you know, that kind of usual thing. All right, I'm going to come in here and just click in the middle there, as much in the middle as I can get it, and that, and then so that's going to be the emissive. Okay, and then one thing I need to do over here is I'm going to bring up the emissive intensity there a little bit, and over here we're going to put on these post effects, this glare here, and go in and change this to bloom, and I can adjust these if I want, but I'm okay with that. So I'll have that there, which will be the same as this thing here. Okay, we can just go ahead and try that and see how it works. So let's go and look at exporting this, and it's going to be called wall. Let me come in here under metallic roughness, and I've got emissive in here, I've got height, I've got DirectX for my normal, and I want OpenGL, so we'll try that. Metallic roughness base color, so it's this PBR metallic roughness is what I need to choose. So I will do that, and then I'll put that where I want it and export. Alright, so I get all that, and I get the emissive, which is exactly what I wanted. Save that. Okay, let's go back to Blender now. Let's go to the shading tab, and let's just call this, I'll just call it walls now. I'll have another version of this, but Shift Control T, and we need to find that one. Walls, base color to roughness. Don't need emissive right now. That should throw that on there, and we'll put that on there as well. And might as well get the emission going on, I guess I don't need either one. And then we'll trim off that stuff and see how well that worked for us. Okay, so to get the emissive working, what I'm going to do is, first of all, let me make sure I've got ambient occlusion, bloom, screen space reflections on, maybe refraction. Let's leave it like that. Okay, shader, add shader. I'll maximize this for you. And then shader emission, and texture, image texture, and that's going to be the emissive right there. Okay, that's going to get plugged in. I'll put this at 20, and then we'll plug it in. And now you can see that. Let's go to layout, turn this on, and let's try just a different lighting. Okay, so there they are. All right, so let's see about coming into both of these and where that line is. Okay, what if we were to get rid of those and come right down to there? Okay, good. Okay, and what if we were to take these and push them back? Okay, so I'm going to get that effect. All right, I'm going to drop, let's see, how am I going to do this? Okay, I'll tell you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to try selecting them all and getting it relatively straight. Let's try this. I don't know, bisect, and just like cut through here. And can I scale Z 0 still, and then delete? And that'll give me that right there, because really what I'm going to do in a while is I'm going to grab this edge and no, I'm going to do that once they're joined. And speaking of which, let's do that now. I don't need that on, but I'm going to go to edge, and I'm going to take this and slide it over, and yeah, turn that off. And it's going to snap, and it's going to look like that. And let's just jeez. Let's just leave it at something like that. Okay, now how are my alphas looking? Do they look indented? Yeah, we'll know more a little bit later on. So I've got that, and then what I'm going to be doing is I can do other work on this. Shift D. Now I can join them and then I can array them, or I can just build it like this. So I'm going to be taking these, Shift D, dragging them down, and essentially building up a corridor like that. And as you can see here, just very similar to that, with a little bit more details. Okay, so I mean, I can go on a little bit. What I'm thinking of doing as well is taking this right here, Shift D, pulling it out, P to break it out. I know it's got the same stuff. I'm going to join those together, Control J. I'm going to come in and I'm going to extrude this out. I'm going to make a floor piece out of this, and just have to decide how I want this. Let's quickly show you how I would do this floor, and then we'll come back and do some more at some point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I got that piece right there. I'm going to bring my 3D cursor there, and I'm going to bring in another plane. Actually, not like that. I'm just going to copy this, Shift D. I'm going to scale it. I'm going to scale it in a little bit. I'm going to apply the scale, and let's just focus on this stuff here. And look down from the top, and you know, something like that could be okay. I'm going to bevel this, and I'll use like 5, just something like that. I'll bring it up. I'm going to do a Boolean through here and then fill it up. Let's go back to here though. So I'm going to take this piece here, and I'm going to do a Boolean and get rid of this and rebuild some of it. Just like so, grab these edges inside, F to make a face, select it all, and I want to, I mean, that's fine right there, but actually I need this edge. I'm going to inset just a little bit like this to put a border on this. Obviously you don't like some of this, but that's okay. But because this is going to wrap around, right, it's going to be curved, I'm going to have to put some kind of divisions in there, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just thinking that I do feel like I want it longer, so I'm just going to arbitrarily stretch it up. So, all right, and I'm going to use bisect. I'm going to cut right through roughly the middle. I'm going to scale Y 0 and kind of position in the middle, and then I'm going to Control B. I'm going to pull. I just don't want to hit these vertices here. All right, I can just move that. And in fact, I think I'm going to put another edge loop in between each of these. I think it's going to need it to bend, and that probably is good enough. So I'm going to come to UV editing, and I'm going to focus just on that, and I'm going to try just unwrap. Okay, scale that down, and I don't need that in there. All right, just like that. So it's unwrapped. Okay, save. Let's export that, bring it in Substance Painter. All right, so there's my floor, and I'm going to call this floor. Bake the mesh maps. I'll do it at 2K. And what I want here is I want a hexagon pattern. So I'm going to add a fill with a black mask, and I'm going to make this that sort of dark greenish kind of color, blue color, something like that. All right, and to that black mask I'm going to add a fill, and on the grayscale part of that I'm going to add my hexagon procedural. And there it is. Just drop it in and get rid of the dot scale and change the actual scale to maybe 7. So I've got that pattern, and then I need to mask that. So I'm going to add another fill with the black mask, but I'll make this one nice and bright white for the main part of the floor. And yeah, and on here I'm going to choose the polygon fill, and it's going to go around, and this part I'm going to want to be white. So now I got my hexagons in the middle, and the only other thing I was thinking of was maybe a gray border. So I'm just going to do this again, a fill and a black mask, and change this down to sort of a gray color. No, you know what? I might go closer to black. Closer to, yeah, let's go even closer than that. And then I'll try this with a polygon fill, but this time I think I'm going to have to go, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to have to go around and sort of select each chunk here. So that'll take me a minute. Alright, so there's my floor piece. So let's save that and export it into Blender. Okay, so as you can see right now, I've got the walls material on there. So I'm actually going to call this hexagon floor. So I might do another piece, we'll see. Okay, Shift Control T, floor, hexagon floor. That's the one. Okay, let's take this and then snap it to there. So I do get a bit of that edge, that's good. And I've got this, and then I can take this end. For now, I'll do a duplicate, and we'll snap it. That didn't quite go. So let's actually just focus on those things right there. Take a couple of these now. Okay, maybe I should put my cursor somewhere else. Okay. I'll just do a little bit more of this. We'll bring this back, and what I'll do is let's extend this out just a little bit more, and just to give you an idea of the let's take the whole thing, even though that's not exactly how it would be, because we'll have different pieces and some more details in this. If I do that for now, I probably have to join it in order to show you a curve of some point. But just before I do that though, I'm going to bring in a couple of lights. And we'll just change the lighting a little bit, and let's see if we can get a bit more of an atmosphere in here. And just do a few alternate colors, just to do something different. All right, good enough for the moment. And let's see what that's too bright. And let's see what this is looking like. Okay, it's a little bit easier on the eyes to give you the sense of the. Okay, and then let's save that, and then maybe I'll just show you with the floor. I guess. Okay, let's bring in a plane, and I'm going to use that to make my curve of the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this point, and I'm going to come up to maybe about halfway, or I'll redo this part later, but I'm going to grab that point, and I'm going to Shift Control B to bevel it. I'm going to pull, and then put a good number of points to make it quite smooth. Like that's the corner right there. Okay, I'm going to convert that to a curve, and then let's try with. Okay, this thing's not arrayed. Really, if I array this, I'll be better off instead of duplicating it. So I'm going to take the floor now, and I'm going to array this. I'll do it in the Y. Let's set that to 0, 0. and I'll do it like, I'll do 10 or something like that. Okay, I'll click on merge, and then I'll take this and I'll add that curve, the curve modifier. And I'm going to do this in the -y, I think. I push this way, and you'll see them curving. And I know the rest of my stuff isn't following that right now, so yeah, maybe I can just, for the moment, just hide this stuff. No, hide. All right, and we'll do that. But just to get the sense of how the floor would work. And I think, you know, some of my hexagons are holding up. This one's a little bit squished. Otherwise, not too bad. Okay, so that's the general idea of how it's going to go. I may get rid of the lights on every second one of these. We'll put some more details. We'll put the med kits on there, and all of that. And that's how it's going to go. So we'll come back soon. Thanks for watching.